Sports Report has begun. I am Gabe Morency, SportsGrid Television Network, Roku, and much more. Shout out to whatever platform, network, or app you are watching us on. Let's do this thing. We have a big week this week. We spent a lot of time talking about BKFC and their trip to Fenway Park, which is absolutely epic. And we'll get into that. We'll get into the UFC, best bets, videos of the week, and everything else in between. But it's the Summer of Violence tour in BKFC, and they've been global, man. They've been all over the place, and they've pretty much had a card like every week. And it seems like every time we look up, our man, the Dark Knight, is racking up another win on one of these cards. Now in a 4-fight win streak, Joseph the Dark Knight Creer steps up and in to kick it with us on the Combat Sports Report. Joseph, it's always a pleasure, my man. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on a dominant performance.
Thank you for having me. And, yeah, that was fun.
It was fun. Like, dude, how are your hands right now? Because I don't know if you looked at the numbers. Do you look at the numbers? Are you a stat guy at all? You literally threw over 300 punches, my man. You threw, and you connected about half of those. How are the hands feeling right now?
My hands are really sore. They swole up, but they're doing fine. They're still bruising now. The swelling's going down. Other than that, it's okay.
So assess yourself when you look back on it. How are you one of these dudes? Are you super critical of yourself? Or are you like, listen, I won the fight. We move on. It is what it is. It's never going to be an easy fight. Did you rewatch the fight? I guess that's first thing I'll ask. Did you rewatch the fight?
Yeah, I watched the fight about 3 times now. I did my job. It doesn't matter if I get a knockout or a TKO or anything like that. Just go out there and get the W. That's the most important thing.
Now, one thing, listen, everybody's tough, right? But Cody proved his toughness, and, man, like, you picked him apart. There's not much more you can do, right? You keep throwing. He kept eating them. It is what it is, right? It's just one of those deals.
Yeah, Cody's really tough. You can see in his eyes that he didn't want to quit. So I had to go out there and do what I had to do. I just try to keep myself safe regardless, because I respect the fact that Cody was coming off of like a 4-fight win streak, and a lot of them were knockouts or something like that. So I expect him to have a lot of power. So I was going to keep the distance and move my feet and stick that jab out there at him to make him work behind something the whole fight and fill that gap between me and him, and it happened to work.
Now, there was a great video of you guys embracing after the fight. There's been a lot of talk about this in the combat sports world about respect, but you can't take it too far. We saw with Gary and Makachev, he kept on hugging him after in between rounds. You can respect someone, but you respect them after the fight, right, Joseph? You beat them, then you respect them after, and you say, you're a tough-ass son of a bitch. You want to go for a drink? Fine, let's do it. But you don't do it during the fight, right? What's that line like? You respect your guy, but you got to remember he's trying to hurt you, and not only trying to hurt you, he's trying to ruin your life and to literally take food off your plate, right? You got to remember that when you go in. What's your mindset about that?
Yeah, I mean, regardless, before, after, or during the fight, I respect everybody. It's just I'm not trying to make friends with you, or I'm not trying to be your friend before the fight. Like, I don't have a disregard for anybody. They're just another person like me, and they're trying to feed their family and make a paycheck and earn a living, things like that. We can be friends after the fight. We can drink, we can shake hands, we can hug, things like that after the fight.
Now, I wanted to ask you, and it seems like we've had a lot of guys on in the cruiserweight division, absolutely stacked division right now. Now, you've put together a 4-fight win streak. It wasn't that long ago either. You've been pretty active. So what's been the difference for you? Has there been like any mental adjustments, physical adjustments, sort of technical adjustments as far as understanding the concept of this format of combat sports? Because you've done it all, and you're a student of the game. What's catapulted the 4-fight win streak? Because it wasn't that long ago you were 3-3. Now you're sitting at 7-3. What's been the difference, Joseph?
Life. I lost my coach. Some of the people that I held the closest to me left and everything. So when you got nothing, all you got is you only got one thing to focus on. And I just got something to prove to myself, in a sense, that like when my coach passed away, the one thing he always used to tell me, even when he was alive, was like, every coach wants a world champion. And so That's just what I'm focused on. Yep.
Now, as I stated, it's a very stacked division. You're not a call out, you know what I mean? This guy, like you said, you're respectful of everybody, but they're starting to get a logjam of quite a few dudes that keep on winning fights, right? Atchison keeps on messing people up, man. Lex Ludlow, he's talking, but he's backing up his talk, right? So you got all these dudes that are sort of, there's one door for you guys to go through here. What happens next for you? Is there any, do you think like what's coming next, who you're going to fight? Have they told you how far away are you from getting that championship shot?
Well, it was discussed when I signed a contract with Cody that the winner between Cody and I would fight Lorenzo Hunt. And that's definitely one of the reasons I signed on for the fight. Secondly, I don't run away from anybody. I don't call people out because it's not important to me. I'll fight anybody that asks. And I don't turn fights down. One of those cocky statements I guess a person can say is if you want it, step up or whatever. But the thing is, I have my heart set on, I know that I'll be fighting Lorenzo here pretty soon. And I wouldn't have it any other way. After I deal with Lorenzo, I'll fight anybody else that feels the need to challenge me. There's guys, at my division that deserve their opportunity. Sometimes I think there's too many politics in our division. Like I know Jarrett Warren and Josh Dyer and Jomi Escoboza. I always looked at the rankings and I saw those guys for the longest time have been above me, and I got an opportunity early on to fight Jarrett. Mentally, I wasn't there at the time because I was around the same time that we found out that my coach was diagnosed with cancer. And so I'd love to, have another opportunity with Jarrett. But right now, the one person that's on my plate is Lorenzo Hunt. And so, yeah, I fight anybody, and everybody deserves an opportunity as long as they keep to work and keep at work, rather. And, yeah. Anybody can get it, I guess you can say.
Now, you want to keep politics. That's the one thing I've always loved about sport, right? That it's not supposed to be political, right? That, the two people compete, whatever it is, whether it's with a ball, whether it's, it's in a ring or, whatever it is, that, money doesn't matter, class doesn't matter, where you come from doesn't matter. But, in a fight game, that's not really the case, is it, right? And you talk about politics. Is it like tickets sold, popularity, social media, right? Social media, etc., right? And that's the world we live in. And you're not that type of dude. You're not that type of dude, right? You let your fists do the talking. You don't let your fingers do the talking on TikTok.
Yeah. I know it's like social media presence and tickets sold. Like, I know if we had like a fight in Georgia, I could sell a lot of tickets because that's where I'm living right now. And like, I'm not really... I got Instagram and I got Facebook, and I don't really do too much talking on either of those. I like to I post pro wrestling stuff and comic book stuff. I don't care. Like, some people use their social media as like a way to create this image of themselves. No, what you see on my social media is what you get. Comic books.
Yeah, you're chill.
Freaking wrestling and then you see pictures of me in the gym all the time or teaching these bad kids that I always got to work with or something, but that's about it.
Hey, well, you know what? The results are there, man, and it's working for you, right? Everybody takes a different path. Everybody lives a different lifestyle. You're in that zone right now, and you're knocking on the door, my man. It's always a pleasure, Joseph. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you down the road, brother.
Thank you. I'll see you again soon.
There's the Dark Knight, Joseph Creer, with his Combat Sports Report on the SportsGrid Television Network. Continues. Bring it. The Combat Sports Report continues. I am Gabe Morency. Thanks to Joseph the Dark Knight Creer for joining us on the program. And as we've discussed a lot over the last couple of weeks, BKFC going to Fenway Park. And tell you what, the Boston Red Sox are suddenly on fire once again right now. But Fenway Park is going to be on fire this Saturday. An epic, just an epic setting for fights. I'm surprised that there hasn't been more of this at Fenway Park, and I'll tip my cap to the Red Sox and the Major League Baseball and the Fenway Park for approving it. Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, the Red Sox could have been like, listen, we're not having a bare knuckle. Like, that's just too much. Like, UFC okay or something, but like, no, we're not doing bare knuckle fighting at Fenway Park. Or Fenway Park could, Fenway Park could book it themselves, and MLB couldn't do anything about it. They could say we don't like it or something, but the fact that MLB and Major League Baseball help sell tickets for this, MLB.com has promoted this event and discussed this event, which is super cool. And of course, one of the hardcore regulars on our program for BKFC, our boy King Kai Stewart, is the main event. So we showed you the press conference from a couple of weeks ago. We had Peter Barrett on, and Kai talked a lot of smack about Boston, and he's the champ. He's 9-0, so he did his thing. But Gigliotti is a dangerous guy. All right, Gigliotti. People are wondering who. It's one of these weird deals. Like, if Kai beats him, nobody's going to be impressed, and if he loses, he could lose. It's a dangerous ass fight. Gigliotti's a big dude. He's a professional boxer. He does have skill. The question is he on Kai Stewart's level? But I'm shocked by the odds. I really am. And BetOnline was the first one. BetOnline always the first ones to post the BKFC lines if you're into betting on BKFC. And Kai Stewart, -140. -140. We're talking about the second ranked pound-for-pound fighter in bare-knuckle fighting in the world after Lorenzo Hunt. And Gigliotti's kind of like a no-name dude, yet Kai Stewart's -140. I don't know if it's a size advantage because Gigliotti is like a hell of a lot taller and stuff, but Kai's used to that. So I was baffled and kind of like, wow. It's almost like a trap because you think, dear God, like the first thing I thought was like, well, I'm betting pretty big on Kai. I'm taking Kai here. I'll tell you right now, I am taking Kai Stewart in this fight, but I haven't decided how much. And the fact that the line is -140 almost scares me. Like, if he was -250, I'd be like, yeah, we're going to smash and put him in a bunch of parlays. Now it's like, what do they know that I don't know? Like, what the hell do they know, right? And don't forget, Austin Trout did lose. Gigliotti, he doesn't think that King Kai is all that. Here's Gigliotti's final statements before the fight.
This is everything I've worked for in my life to get to this point, and I'm on the big stage in my backyard at Fenway Park just to have this opportunity to be able to have my family, my team of Lawtown boxing there, and the people that matter to me the most. It's going to be one of those opportunities that not many people get. I'm fighting Kai Stewart. They say he's the king. I think he's the queen. He's, pretends to be this big talkative guy, but at the end of the day, he's wearing a mask. He's not a real tough guy. You can see it. I don't think he's fought someone that can break him down. I know I can. I know I can box. I know I can punch. I am gonna be king. I'm gonna take that crown from you, and I'm gonna take that belt. And you can stick to your game plan all you want, but there's nothing that's gonna change the outcome on fight night. I'm gonna break him down, and if I hurt him, I'm gonna put him to sleep. I think people are gonna realize that Kai wasn't that great after all.
Kind of a strange flex at the end to say that he wasn't that good after all. So if you beat him, then we're not supposed to be that impressed. And I'm not really sure you can say, oh, wow, I never fought anyone breaking down. All right, let's see what Kai has to say about this.
I'm King Kai, BKFC Featherweight World Champion, the best in the business. Harry Gigliotti, other known as Giggly Tits. He's from Boston, Massachusetts, hometown guy. I have no idea why I'm fighting him. You could send anyone you want, just don't send anyone you want back, and this is no different of a situation.
Stewart hard to the inside, big shots, and down goes Louis Lopez.
I don't believe Harry deserves to be in the same conversation as me because of what I've done. I'm pound for pound number 2. I have 9 fights in the organization. I have more title fights than he has fights. Okay, this is just absurd to me. But listen, they're gonna try to find whoever they can to try to beat me. It's the same song and dance. Just realize you already made the mistake. You signed the contract. Your time is over. Kings never die.
King Kai Stewart, minus 140 favorite. And like I said, I don't really understand the number. And this isn't any disrespect to Gigliotti. I have all the respect in the world for every one of these fighters. But, like, really? Minus 140? Like, is it what? Because you're fighting in Boston, and/or I don't get it. I think King Kai really is just that special and different. And no, he's not. That's the whole thing. Like, all these Boston guys are kind of coming at this with like a street fighter perspective. Like, we're tougher. This guy's kind of like, look at him. He's not a real, bar fighter, not a tough guy like we are. And Kai's he's an interesting dude. He's very different for like sort of a Montana type of guy, right? Like with the suits and the watches and stuff like that. But, this isn't a street fight, man. This is a sporting event. And King Kai he's 9-0. 9-0. He's fought 9 times, never lost. Are you going to be the first to beat him? I don't think so. My money's going to be on King Kai Stewart, minus 140. It's up to you how you want to handle your bet, but BetOnline has the numbers up. All right, so it's fight week. Let's do this thing. We've talked a lot about it. I'm fired up for this Fenway Park, baby.
August 29th, where? In Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. History will be made.
I am the king of bare knuckle fighting championship. Welcome to BKFC. Harry Gigliotti. We're back. That could be huge in this round, so big right hand, left hand. See how hard Dallas Davidson tries to go for the finish. Huge left hand on the step in from Sean, he cracked it back and he's dead. Beautiful body work done by Papa.
I'm fired up for this. It's a good thing, I like to be there, but I'm on the West Coast, and I'm also going to see Guns N' Roses on Saturday night. But I'm glad that I'm on the West Coast because the BKFC card will be done by the time I go to see Guns N' Roses. Combat Sports Report on the SportsGrid Television Network continues. Bring it. All right, it's time for our videos of the week, and we got some wild ones this week. Let's start off with a fighter getting attacked. Why did the fighter get attacked? Because he decided to bite his opponent's ear, and the fans were not impressed by any stretch of the imagination. All hell breaks loose. And if this was Jeopardy, we'll ask, what country do you think this happened in? Right? Let's roll it.
Tvrdý low kick. Oh, hodně tvrdý low kick. Oh! Double under. Do kousek. Sekunka zase 200. Oh, shit, ty píčo, tak co to je? A jako tady, Pali Harry opravdu svého soupeře pokousal.
Man, that guy wanted out of that arena bad, huh? You see, like, he was like, people are hitting him with chairs, throwing punches, and like, he's just like, I got to get out of here because it's going to get even worse. So if I get hit in the head with a couple of chairs, fine. But I got to get out of here before I get killed. Yet, man, that was some like, Hannibal the Cannibal type stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't just like, I bit his ear a bit. Like, no. Like, you tried to bite his ear off. Like, you dug in, man. You dug in. That was some pretty hardcore stuff. Crazy ass stuff. All right, this is also pretty crazy. And Justin Gaethje, of course, has just shocked the MMA world by not just beating Ilia Topuria, but by absolutely smashing Ilia Topuria. But yeah, this is what Gaethje does, and somebody put together a compilation of fighters and what they look like after they fight Justin Gaethje, and it's almost like MMA poetry. It really is. Like, there should be a museum or something of like Justin Gaethje's victims. It's like, it really is a work of art, and like these fighters' faces look like works of art with all the blood after and stuff. It's a thing of beauty. Like, one by one. You want a piece of that? There's Patty Pimblett. Like, these are all really tough dudes, too. These are all, like, really tough dudes. You know, that's Ilia Topuria's face, man. Like, I think it's look at that. Look at that. Like, it should be in a museum. Like, if I was Justin Gaethje, I'd have all these all over, like, my wall. Like, you know what I mean? In my room. And I've had the belts and I have pictures. You know, like, instead of like you have football jerseys, players will have their jerseys of the team they played on up on the wall and stuff like that. I just have like each face of like what the dude looked like after he fought me. And just to be a jerk, I'd put a picture up of myself after each fight. Like smiling, not a scratch. Gaethje takes a couple of, he takes some scratches and stuff, but like, it really is unbelievable. It's a work of art. Like I said, it's a work of art. All right, so I've complained about this, about like the modern smack talk with fighters and stuff. They might be tough dudes and stuff, but lack of a better term, there's just a bunch of douchebags in MMA now. Yeah, I was thinking about this. Like, your opponent already wants to kill you as it is. Like, why give him bulletin board material? Michael Jordan played Charles Barkley in the NBA Finals with the Bulls and the Suns. And Jordan's one of the most competitive son of a bitches in the history of, like, the world, right? And Michael Jordan went golfing with Charles Barkley during the NBA Finals. And his Bull teammates thought it was strange. And they asked him, and they said, Mike, why would you go golfing when it's kind of strange for you to go golfing during... And he said, Barkley's so stupid, he thinks I'm his friend now because we went golfing together. He goes, I also gave him a watch. And he goes, watch, he won't guard me as hard like now because he thinks we're buddies. Like, Jordan was playing people like on and off the court and stuff like all the time. And if I was a fighter as well, I wouldn't be like, yeah, your wife is fat and ugly and you're a loser and your country sucks and stuff. You know, you sort of like, you don't go as far as, you know, as Gary does, but like, if Gary was smart, it would be an act, right? Oh, I respect you so much. And then, you know what I mean? You don't even touch gloves when the fight starts. You just club the guy in the effing face after. But we'll run this on the other side. I couldn't help but thinking about that. It's like, dude, probably not a good idea to run your mouth that much before the fight, especially if, you know, you're not that good. Tom Zaffino will step up and in. We got more videos. Bring it. Combat Sports Report continues on the SportsGrid television network. Shout out to whatever platform, app, or network you're watching us on. I am Morency. Tom Zaffino will step up in a moment. We'll get into the UFC Shanghai. You know, there's going to be a lot of action going on these fights. And, you know, I'm just going to throw this out there as well, that part of the world is like the match fixing, fight fixing, like, that's like that's where they all live, right? Like Singapore, like that whole sort of, you know, the Macau, that whole triangle and stuff like that. So it'll be, one of my predictions I'll say, like, don't be surprised that on Saturday night you see like a couple of posts about, whoa, like some suspicious activity going on with this fight. Should be a fun card though, overnight too for the D-Gen. So, we'll get into that, but we got one last video, and I was talking about talking smack. It kind of speaks for itself. Whatever, dude. You want to talk about the other guy, you know, leave the guy's wife out of it and stuff. And, well, it is what it is, so let's roll it.
You got married this morning and are fighting, buddy. So
hey, at least I actually married a girl that's not fat. How about that one?
Let's face that way. Let's face that way.
This bitch is fat, bro. All right. Say nothing about that. Maybe you should, give her a little bit of dieting tips, G.
Hey, I love my wife, baby.
Oh, yeah.
I love my wife, baby.
You look good, You look good.
Red, you got to do more.
love my wife now.
If I was the ref, I probably would have let it go a little bit longer, to be honest. I said earlier, I like the way that the ref let him get a couple. He got that one last shot in. It was really good. But I think the dude deserved a bigger beating, actually, after what was all said and done. Let's bring Tom in right now. Tom, rightful guy won. Nice to see that the right fighter won that fight. But as I said, if I was the referee, I probably would have let him get another couple of more shots in. And as I stated a couple of minutes ago before you joined us, dude, your opponent already wants to kill you. Like, some of this stuff, like, I understand psychological warfare, but this guy was just a jackass.
Yeah, man, that's not cool. You don't talk about wives like that, especially. Not only did he make the comment, but he just kept going in on it. I mean, there's no place for that. That's you get what you got. Like, that's well deserved. Happy to see the way that fight went. But yeah, that's just disrespectful, and he got what he deserved.
It's the modern world. I guess that's they say. What f around and find out. So he found out. All right, so let's go to Shanghai here. We got UFC Shanghai, and kind of an interesting card here. Chalk heavy card, Tom. I've seen a few spots. Yet I think it's chalk heavy, but there could be a couple of live underdogs on this card. I almost feel bad, and I don't know, I shouldn't feel bad. It is what it is, the fight game. But you look at Song, bro, and the fighters that this guy has fought in over his career, it's just constant, Tom. You know what I mean, Tom? Like, some guys, they're sort of like, all right, let's just give him give him like 4 or 5 fights in a row and let him go. But from the time he came into the company, if you look at his early fights in his career to now, it's like, yeah, all right, you lost to O'Malley, and O'Malley's their big poster boy. We're going to give you Figueiredo. So he beats Figueiredo. It's like, yeah, after that, we're going to give you a guy that nobody can beat except Merab. One guy can beat this guy, Tom. And they give you Don Song, they give Song him. Unless I'm wrong, can Song shock the world here? It's just, to me, stylistically, it's not the best matchup for him. And we see. The fact is, Umar just doesn't lose, bro.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough matchup. And he's a Dagestani wrestler, man. Those guys are tough matchups for anybody. And, Umar actually has pretty decent striking. But one thing I will say about Umar, and we've seen it a couple times recently, is he does fight to the level of his competition. When he fought Figgy, it was very underwhelming.
And he has been hit a couple of times, too. He is hittable, right?
Yeah, he has. We've seen him hurt. We've seen him rocked. But he's really good. I mean, like Islam. Like, we saw Islam hurt and rocked in the past. And Ian Gary, like we talked about before, had some success in that fight. But when a guy can just clamp onto you, get you to the mat, and just control you, it's really tough. And Umar, like I said, he's got good striking. He's got good volume and pace. So he's always a tough matchup. But Song, he's also a tough matchup. I mean, he does have the power. He could land a big shot in this fight. I could see this one being competitive. I could, it's an Umar fight. So generally speaking, they go 5 rounds or they go 3 rounds. They usually go the distance. When he's fought the upper echelon guys, like when he fought Merab, those first couple rounds, he looked like the best fighter in the world. I mean, he looked amazing. And then he kind of fell off and Merab's pace took over. But then you see him fight guys where he's, a minus 1,200 favorite and he's dragging them to decision and everyone's going, what's going on here? Let's have some urgency. So Umar is a weird fighter. He's very skilled. He's very tough to beat, but he doesn't always show up the way you expect him to show up. And if Song shows up, we know Song, he's going to show up and he's going to be ready to roll. He can make a fight of it, but it is a tough out. I do think Umar probably gets it done, but I do think it will be, a very competitive fight, and I think it's going to go long. So the overs in this one are definitely in play.
That's what makes these guys so great, as Tom just stated, is that they have the ultimate sambo stuff, which nobody can seemingly deal with in the mixed martial arts world, but they've gotten better at standing up, right? They've gotten a lot better at striking, and they can start off the fight on, standing, you know what I mean? It's pretty tough, Tom. Like, it's like playing a football team that can run the ball and throw the ball, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, if you want to do this, we'll do this. But now we're going to mix it up. And it's like, because like you said, you think you're doing well, right? You're like, man, I'm hanging with Islam. I'm right here. I just cracked him a bunch of times. Look, he's busted up. And it's like, yeah, next thing you know, he's on your back, bro. And you're fighting for your life. And you're getting gassed because he's all over you all the time. And like you said, Umar's basically Islam in a different weight class. And Umar's got really good stand-up right now as well. But Song is a badass. I tried to talk myself into Song beating O'Malley, but it just wasn't there. That's why I just sort of say, like, man, they just give this guy, like, the top guys one time after another. But maybe he breaks through. And as me and Tom stated, Umar has been knocked down. He has been cracked a couple of times. I think he wins, but the 550 price is big. Umar to win in a distance, Tom, or over 4.5 is minus 160. How are you going to approach this from a betting perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it with the overs. I do think the fight goes long. I think he wins. I don't mind him by decision. It's one of those things, though, where MMA is funny, man. Like, we talk about, he fights to his level of competition. He drags the guys to decision. And then all of a sudden, he comes out and he wins in the second round. Like, it's one of those things that kind of worries me a little bit. So I think the fight goes long. I mean, obviously, Song is extremely durable. I would expect him to be able to hang in there. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he hurt Umar as well. So, yeah, I'm looking at, Umar by decision, Umar, over 3.5, something like that. Maybe just get a better price on him. But overall, I think Umar does get the job done, and it's probably a long fight.
I tried to do the math. I put it together. Umar over 3.5 is minus 200, so it's a little pricey.
Yeah,
if you do the 4.5, you get down to minus 160. That's more reasonable. But it is amazing, guys, because we talk about it all the time. It's like, yeah, this guy, he should be favored and stuff. But like, if the odds makers have the total at 4.5 and it's minus 245. They say it's going to the decision. And if it's going to the decision, anything can happen. And, oh, yeah, you're fighting an Asian fighter in Asia. That is a badass. That is due to win one of these big-time fights as well. More with Tom on the other side.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
What Michigan has to play versus Penn State is insane. Like, instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, like, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS, but then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
His height, how hard he could throw it, didn't matter. How do you communicate it? How do you look at these guys in the face? An old 10-year vet, right guard over there, and a 9-year tackle that's been. How you gonna look that old man in the face and convince him, hey guys, we're gonna get ready to go down the field. We're gonna score here. Because that's what the great ones do. They walk in the huddle and everybody goes, okay, it's time, let's go.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Combat Sports Report continues on the SportsGrid Television Network. We're talking UFC Fight Night in Shanghai. It's an overnight card on Saturday night. So if you're up late, you're a DJ, and you love betting in the overnight hours, this card is tailor-made for you from Shanghai. So we talked about the main event, getting into some of the other fights. So we've got a women's tilt here with Gomez, a plus 125 underdog against Xiao Yan, who's a minus 150 favorite. Oddsmakers expecting a long fight here as well, as are we. Totals 2.5, minus 320 to the over. Do you like the Asian fighter here with Xiao Nan? Or do you think Gomez is live? Any opinion on this tilt?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty solid fight. Gomes is a pretty solid fighter overall. She's got some good power. She fights with good volume. But Xiao Nan to me she's like a step below Wei Li, who I think is one of the best women's fighters in the world. And she did fight Wei Li, and she lost that fight, but she did land a knockdown in that one. Xiao Nan, I like the volume. I just like the overall skill that she brings to the cage. She's a very well-rounded fighter. I think, again, I expect this fight to go a little bit longer. So, Xiao Nan with the overs, even maybe just over 1.5, just to get a little bit of a better price on her. But I could easily see this one going to decision. So Xiao Nan by decision would be fine by me. If you want to mix in, maybe like a little same game parlay, the over on strikes. I don't know what those numbers look like right now, but I expect her to put up a decent amount of strikes. So I like Xiao Nan here. I just think she's just a little bit more polished. The volume's going to be on her side. Mostly she just has to avoid the power. But overall, I think she wins. I think it goes long, and more than likely, it goes all 3 rounds.
Now, I talked about potentially being some live dogs, or you got some big numbers on this card. And Kai Asakura is a minus 450 favorite. I can't lay that. Like, I sort of look at it, it's like, all right, anything can happen. He could get cracked here. Iori has brought it before in the past. And similar situation, guys, like, you sort of read between the numbers. If you see, like, these high totals, like 4.5, all right, in a 5-round fight, or 2.5 in a 3-round fight, and it's minus 320, they're basically telling you they're going to be shocked if it doesn't go to the judges' card. So therefore, you got a potential, live underdog, if the fight's going to last that long. Here, though, they're telling us, no, it's over under 1.5. I can't trust minus 450. Maybe I'm wrong. What's your opinion on this fight?
Yeah, Asakura hasn't looked great coming into the UFC. Obviously, he came right into a title fight, pretty much got ragdolled. He's a kickboxer, and he fought one of the best grapplers that we've seen in Pantoja. Did not go well. Next fight, he fights another wrestler and gets kind of ragdolled again in that fight. So he's on an 0-2 streak, and then he comes back and he does get a win. But really, he's a nasty kickboxer. He's got really good striking. That's what he does. Arichi Lang, that's what Arichi Lang does. He does mix in the takedowns from time to time. He has been in some pretty good scraps over the course of his career, last 5 or 6 years. So Arichi Lang definitely live to land some shots, but more than likely they're going to be standing the whole time. And Kai Asakura standing against Arichi Lang, probably going to get the knockout. So definitely don't want to bet the money line just because, the success hasn't been there for Asakura at this point. But I do think he's got a really good shot to win by knockout in this one. And Arichi Lang's going to be there to be hit. So that's the way I'm approaching this one.
Alex Perez is a plus 180 underdog. This fight's scheduled for like 7 a.m. Eastern time, guys. All right, like I said, so like there's some all weird times here. Not bad if you're on the West Coast in the overnight hours, but Medarji minus 220. What are your thoughts here? The total's 2.5 here, so we almost have our first sort of normal total in this fight.
Yeah, so we saw the beginnings of this fight not that long ago. These guys fought each other.
Yeah, they got kicked in the nuts. Yeah, that's right.
yeah, and I was on Perez in that fight. Sumadarji looked like he was,
Medarji was winning though, wasn't he?
So,
yeah, he was going to say like things weren't going well for Perez. Like Medarji's size was causing him a problem. That length.
Yeah, but with that said, though, I mean, now the number's much bigger. It's basically doubled from what we had before. And, that was one night. This is another night. Perez is a very good striker. He is a very well-rounded guy. He does have a lot of losses on the resume, but when you go back and look at who he's lost to, it's a lot of high-level guys, championship-level guys. But with that said, I mean, we did see what didn't look good for him. I am kind of tempted. If that number continues to grow, I might throw a little sprinkle on Perez because I think it's a whole new fight. These guys have felt each other out. Game plans will be a little bit different. So Perez could come in here and pull the upset. He's a very good fighter, like I said. But yeah, I mean, it's tough after watching the way that fight was going. It did seem like Sumadarji was the better fighter. So he's the rightful favorite here. I just know how these things go. These guys fight 10 times. It's probably split 6-4. So I think Perez is live. Not sure I'm going to pull a trigger on it, but if the number gets a little bit bigger, I might sprinkle there.
So yeah, total 2.5 minus 110. Perez plus 180. Underdog. All right, man. Time has just flown by on the program tonight, but we still got a couple more minutes here, Tom. So anything else on the prelims, undercard, catch your eye that you've got circled to bet on?
Yeah, so I mean, these cards are tough. We've got a lot of Asian fighters, guys that we have not seen yet, or we've seen very little of.
Malaysians, yeah, we got them all.
Yeah. So, and it's in the middle of the night too. So, I don't want to be too heavily invested because if I have to live bet, I want to make sure I'm awake and, have all my faculties about me. So I'm not overly invested in a lot of these fights, but there is one dog that I do like. And it's a sketchy one, but I like Jack Jenkins. He's fighting Sean Woodson. Woodson is an absolute giant. He's going to tower over him. He towers over everybody in the division that he fights. But I think Jenkins could get those leg kicks going. I think he's really tough. Sean Woodson's been off for a little over a year after getting knocked out. So I think Jenkins is a good live dog to look at early on this card.
Tom Zaffino. Awesome stuff as always, Tom. Great breakdown. Check out Tom online. We'll wrap up things on the other side. The Combat Sports Report. SportsGrid Television continues. Bring it. We're into the final round of the Combat Sports Report. Thanks to our boy Tom Zaffino for joining us. Joseph the Dark Knight Creer from BKFC was on the verge of a potential tilt with Lorenzo Hunt, who pretty much is the kingpin. He is the kingpin of BKFC right now, right? You know, he's won championships in like 3 different weight classes right now. The iron weight stuff. It's Lorenzo's Hunt's company right now, though you got some other guys coming for him. And, of course, King Kai Stewart, although King Kai Stewart weighs like, 55 pounds less than Lorenzo Hunt does. So they're not in the same, their paths will not cross. But big weekend of combat sports. And as we just stated with Tom, we'll start off with the UFC. We're just breaking it down with Tom. They're in Shanghai. So it's one of these like overnight type of cards, which, a lot of people, a lot of viewers of this network and bettors and stuff like the late night stuff, right? Like the Hawaii bailout game. Well, now it's not a Hawaii bailout game. Although, incidentally, Hawaii will be playing. Hawaii will be playing on Saturdays. Football is back, baby. But I like these overnight cards. Like I said, I'm going to have a busy day. We got the BKFC. I'm going to see Guns N' Roses. And Guns N' Roses is not really one of my favorite bands of all time. I do like them, but I'm just going to sort of wrap up the end of the summer and going with some people that really want to go see them. And then sets up nicely after the Guns N' Roses show. It'll be in the middle of the night, and we'll have UFC to bet on. Except I think Tom said something that was smart earlier. He goes, well, I got to make sure I have my faculties. Like this card starts like in the overnight hours. I've always thought, drinking and gambling, they don't mix. It might be fun, but I don't think it's it's not a healthy mix. But basically, like, this is my betting advice to people. If you're like, God damn, man, I'm going to be all lit up and I don't, put your bets in first, right? You put your bets in first. Like, living in Vegas and like West Coast stuff as far as NFL, I've learned this, right? It's like, all right, you don't want to be making decisions when you're all hungover and stuff, like 10 minutes, or fantasy football, and, I got to change my roster, and you're all hungover, and kickoff is in like 5 minutes, and your head's going to explode, and you start to remember, I got to get this bet in, I got to get that bet in and stuff. You put all the bets in first, you do all your business, and then you know what? You go out and you have a great time. You wake up and you let the chips fall where they may, and then that way you're not making any inebriated gambling decisions either. Right? Like, I put way too much, or I went way bigger than I normally do on this fighter. So there's my gambling, my tip to the late night DJs that might be partying on Saturday night. They're going to be betting on the UFC. So, as I said to Tom, I almost feel bad for Song in a sense. Like, it's just one killer after another, right, for the Kung Fu Kid. But the fact of the matter is, he's a killer as well. So, you got to deal with it. Like, but just like, look at the guys that he's fought. So he's coming off a win against Figueiredo, former champion. Fought Sean O'Malley. All right, big time Sean O'Malley. The fight before that, he beat Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo's like a gold medalist, champion, legend, and all that. He beat him. The fight before that, he fought Peter Yan. Like, dude, like even going back to like his early days when he came into the company, right? Like Marlon Vera used to be a badass. And like, they've just like, Song has just always fought in really tough dudes. And now he gets a guy. One thing about Song is he's only 28. So he's going to have his time even down the road and stuff. You see, like, was like that. Charles Oliveira, I'm old enough to remember Oliveira was a kid. He came into the UFC and I was like, do they hate this kid? Like, why do they keep throwing him up against like Max Holloway? They made him fight Conor McGregor when Max like 22 years old or whatever. Look at Max now, right? Now Max a kingpin, he's older, and he just messes people up. So I sort of get the feeling that Song could be a champ down the road one day, but it's just not his time now. And the fact of the matter is, Umar's lost to one guy that can do what he does. Nobody else can do this stuff. Merab. If Merab's not in this weight class, then Umar's the champion right now, and you can't stop it. So, yeah, I feel bad for Song, but give me Umar to win via decision. So minus 160 / over 4.5 rounds, actually. You can, depending how you want to bet that. Young and Palastri over 2.5. Young and Gomez over 2.5. Parlay together is minus 157. I like that. And BKFC. Kai Stewart. This number is kind of baffling to me for a fighter that is 9-0 and has never lost, and he's ranked number 2 in the pound-for-pound rankings in the bare-knuckle fighting world, that Kai Stewart is only a minus 140 favorite against Gigliotti. Yeah, it's in Boston and all that, but give me our guy, King Kai. As Kai said, kings never die. So let's lay the minus 140 with King Kai Stewart at Fenway Park on Saturday evening. Other than that, you're on your own. Later.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Like, instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, like, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS, but then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
His height, how hard he could throw it, didn't matter. How do you communicate it? How do you look at these guys in the face? An old 10-year vet, right guard over there, and a 9-year tackle is been. How you gonna look that old man in the face and convince him, hey guys, we're gonna get ready to go down the field. We're gonna score here. Because that's what the great ones do. They walk in the huddle and everybody goes, okay, it's time, let's go.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio.